Shout out to Ingravenvids.
So team, keep it clean, man. I know we said it was gonna be like an every Thursday or Friday type of thing. That was the expectation for the podcast, but just based off of all the feedback yesterday when we dropped the video on YouTube making the announcement, and just all the people that tuned in to listen, whether you listen through Spotify, you listen through Anchor. Or now you listen through YouTube, because we have the YouTube channel that's going to have the episodes of this podcast too. But just really based off of all of that, I just had to come on here again and say thank you. I remember after I recorded the first episode yesterday, I was just like, I was so happy, man. I was like super happy. And I was ready to record the second episode like right away. But I was like, let me chill, let me relax. And then I had actually planned on recording the second episode after the game last night, but I was tired, man. I was tired, and after the game, we still end up doing a lot of work last night. But I was like, I'll just wait till tomorrow. I'll be patient with it. But I appreciate y'all so much, man. I really do. Team, keep it clean. Y'all again continue to show why y'all are literally the best, like the best team. Y'all are always just rocking with us heavy, man. Heavy, showing crazy support. I just saw, I couldn't respond to all the comments from the video yesterday announcing that we were going to be doing the podcast, but I did see them. So I appreciate y'all like crazy, man. And again, it's gonna be fun. We're just gonna have fun on here. We don't have any specific format or anything like that. We may get to that eventually, but y'all know me, man. Y'all know me. We just like to have fun. Just like the same way it is on YouTube. That's the same way that it's probably gonna be on here. Where we just really have a good time, man. Cause that's what it's about. I am going to be having guests on here, have some different people call in, some people that I've known, whether it be through people that I may have grown up with, or people that I done work with on YouTube throughout. But we're gonna have some different people on here, so we can just get a lot of different perspectives, just on not only NFL but just life, man. Cause we'll talk about some different things. It ain't gonna get like crazy deep or anything like that. But it's more than football. it's more than football. And with this podcast, it's just something different. And like I said yesterday in the welcome, it's just gonna be something where I feel like there's a lot more freedom with it. Simply because we could go on y'all know we could talk forever. Y'all already know that. Y'all have been part of the live streams that we do on YouTube. Y'all have seen enough of the videos that we do on YouTube. We can go forever. So that's why I feel like with the podcast, it's just like it's perfect, man. But I do plan on having a lot of different people come through and join us for some different episodes, so they can give their takes on some different things. Now, from last night, obviously the first game of the season, Texans, they took on the Chiefs. They had a good amount of fans in the stadium too. They said that there wasn't any artificial noise pumped into the crowd, so we got a tiny little taste, but we didn't get really the full experience of what it's gonna be without noise. We didn't really get the full feeling of that, because the Chiefs, again, they had fans there, and since they had fans there, we didn't get to hear the fake crowd noise yet. But I know for the Ravens game, they're not going to have any fans, and it's going to be some other teams that don't have any fans there too. So we're going to see how this whole thing ends up working itself out. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be very interesting, and it's gonna be weird. But at the same time, while there were no fans, I don't think that took away from. Well, it did take a little bit away from the game, but not too much. Not too much. This game, I don't even think it was. It wasn't even really sloppy football, honestly. It really wasn't sloppy football because I know a lot of people's expectations were that, oh man, there was no preseason, so everybody gonna be coming out sloppy. And it, like, I know with the Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller, they were out of sync on the deep passes. And then when they finally got in sync, Deshaun Watson, I guess this means they were still out of sync because Deshaun Watson, he had threw it short. Because Will Fuller, he had a touchdown. He had that safety beat. I think the safety was number 20 for the Chiefs, but he had him beat. But Deshaun Watson threw it short, so Will Fuller had to wait for it, and that gave the safety an opportunity to catch up and get back in position to make the tackle and make the stop. But Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't throwing really any deep passes, I don't think. No, we didn't see the signature bazooka from Patrick Mahomes. We didn't get to see that last night. He still was putting the ball all over, but it wasn't anything crazy. But that pass to Tyreek Hill was nice though, because the cornerback, I think it was Bradley Roby. He was in good position. He was in really good position. He was right there with Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill jumped. Bradley Roby tried to swat it away, and he was obviously unsuccessful in doing that. But Sammy Watkins, he caught his touchdown pass. He thought he caught one before, but they were like, "Nah, you came up just short, buddy," and he was short. So a couple plays later, they end up giving it right back to him, so he got to keep his touchdown. So I was happy for him. I was like, okay, Sam, because that can be frustrating. I know, like, as a fan, because me as a fan, I get frustrated if I'm watching a game and a player scores a touchdown, or a Ravens player scores a touchdown, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. But then it gets reviewed and it's like, oh, it's not a touchdown. I'm like, oh man, come on, man. And then it can be frustrating for me. But then I get happy when the Ravens decide to give the ball right back to that player and they get a touchdown on that same drive. And it's like, oh yeah, let's go, man. Okay, he got his touchdown. He got to keep it. But so if it's like that for me as a fan, I can imagine what it's like as a player. Like, it's got to be way worse. Even though I know players get over stuff easier than we do, but as far as that in game, like, that's your history. That's your history as a player. That touchdown, nobody can ever take that away from you. No matter if your team wins or loses, nobody can ever take that touchdown away from you. That goes on in the record books for the team you're playing on, for your stats throughout your entire career. That goes there. So imagine you scoring, even especially if it's your first touchdown. Like, yeah, let's go. I got my first TD. Let's go. Then all of a sudden, oh no, we reviewed it. It wasn't a touchdown. And it's like, oh, that could be heartbreak. So I always get happy when the players get to keep those touchdowns. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, and I was saying it last night in the video that we did recapping the game. With Patrick Mahomes, he's already established. He's already set up this. He has a high pedestal, man. And with Patrick Mahomes, it's like, yeah, he went out there, threw 200 yards, threw for over 200 yards, threw 3 touchdowns. Yeah, okay, it was an okay game from him. But it's like that's a really good game. That's a really good game. And with him, I feel like he's reached this high pedestal to where it's like that's the expectation that we have from him. That's the expectation. And let's just look at the exact numbers. Let me pull them up. 24 for 32. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Got sacked once. So it's like he threw for over 200 yards, threw 3 touchdowns, and he only missed 8 passes, completed 24 passes, but only missed 8 passes. So it's like, man, I think that's 75%. Because, yeah, 8 times 4 is 32. Hold up. 8 times 4 is 32. Yeah, 8 times 4 is 32. Because 8, 16, 24, 32. Yeah. This dude completed 75% of his passes for 3 touchdowns. And it's like, people are, I didn't really see anybody like, oh man, Patrick Mahomes has such an amazing game. Because again, that's how he set himself up for how he's played throughout his short career. He's played so well, and he's had these 4 touchdown, these 5 touchdown games. He's throwing all over the place, throwing all over the field, making all these plays. So we look at a game like this, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. He had an okay game. But if somebody else had this game, depending on the quarterback, you'd be like, oh wow, he had such a great day. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes, man. One thing that I saw that it was so funny, man. With Patrick Mahomes, when I saw him, he was the way that he runs off the field, man. He runs off the field like a female manager who's like late for work or something. You got to see it, man. You got to see it. It's like the funniest thing when I watch it, man. But Patrick Mahomes, he did his thing last night, so shout out to him, man. The rookie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Wow, that dude was amazing. What a show. His first game in the NFL. Looks like he's been there for years, man. Looks so comfortable. I tweeted it last night. I said he runs so smooth. This guy runs so smooth, man. And he just, it was great, man. It was great watching him. It was scary watching him in that Chiefs offense because it's like, hold up, like this is their first game. This is their first game. They're not even in a full rhythm yet. They're not even all the way in sync yet. This is their first game. Boy, them Chiefs gonna be tough, man. They are going to be tough. They did lose their cornerback to a broken bone in his hand. But those Chiefs, they are going to be tough. They already are tough, but they are going to get tougher. Man, they're going to be something serious. Well, again, they already are, but Sammy Watkins, 7 catches, 82 yards. We kept seeing number 14's name be called. We saw him throughout the game. He never disappeared. Never disappeared. Travis Kelce, he had 6 catches for 50 yards. And had a touchdown as well. With Travis Kelce, 6 catches is a good amount of catches. So whenever he made a catch, he would get a bunch of, like, not a bunch because he only got 50 yards, but he would get a decent amount of yards after the catch. He was breaking tackles, and of course he had that one long catch. It seemed like it was longer than 15 yards, but he had the one long catch. Well, I guess maybe it looked longer because he was running slanted. He was running across the field. He wasn't running straight forward. So maybe that's why it looked like it was a lot more yards than what it actually was. Tyreek Hill, 5 for 46. Of course, we just talked about that touchdown earlier. So this is a quiet game for him. Because with Tyreek Hill, again, we know about the big plays. McCole Hardman, he had 1 catch for 6 yards, and that 6 yards, he showed his speed. These dudes are fast, man. And one thing with McCole Hardman, one thing that I think from last year, like he would have some quiet games, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere he had these big games, and he'd be like, oh, okay, we see you, McCole. All right, man, we see you. So I'd expect the same thing this year, his second year, and he's in good company too, man. He's in some great company because he's around a lot of good weapons, a lot of good players, and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they definitely share the wealth when it comes to spreading that ball around, and it is a beautiful thing to see. They spread the wealth. DeMarcus Robinson, he even had 3 catches for 20 yards. Damian Williams, he had 2 catches for 7 yards. So they spread that ball around, man. They make sure, that is one thing about them Chiefs, man. They make sure they use all of their weapons, all of them, every last one. If you're a weapon on a Chiefs team, that's why so many people, for the people that do fantasy, I don't care about fantasy, but for the people that do fantasy, that's why so many people they were so high on Clyde Edwards-Helaire because they were like, oh, he's going to the Chiefs. That already made them high on him. But then on top of that, who opted out? Something I forgot what it was, I forgot what it was. But when it was known that okay, there was some event that happened with the Chiefs running back where it made it to where Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to get a bulk of the carries, and then everybody was like, oh okay, oh yeah, all right, we definitely gonna pick him up on fantasy, and everybody was like, hey, watch out for him. I mean, everybody was like, watch out for him already from just him going to the NFL, but then when he went to the Chiefs, it was like, oh boy, rich get richer. So, and he showed that tonight. Now, is every game gonna be like this? No, but amazing start for him. Amazing start. And the Chiefs, again, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a big problem because that team. Oh yeah, they're gonna be a big problem. They did have a cornerback out due to the suspension, and then of course, like I said, they lost their other cornerback, I think Ward, due to the broken bone in his hand. They did have Snead, a rookie. He had a pretty good game last night. Even got the pick where the Honey Badger put that pressure on Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson, he was throwing it, but he was throwing it while he was getting hit, and that ball floated, and it was like a punt. It was like a punt because it floated in the air, and Snead was just like, oh, this is for me? Okay, yeah, I'll take it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I thought it was going to be a pick six, but he ended up getting pushed out of bounds. Texans. Oh, Texans. And we talked about this last night, too. I didn't know if, with the Texans, if it was just that the Chiefs' pass rush was that good, or that the Texans' offensive line was that bad. Because it was ugly. It was ugly. Deshaun Watson was running for his life. Oh, it was rough. It was rough watching it. You felt bad for him. You're like, oh, man, Deshaun, oh, I love you, but I feel for you right now, man. So I think it was a mix of both. I definitely think it was a mix of both. With Deshaun Watson, the thing with the Chiefs, what they did a good job of is just containing Deshaun Watson. They did a great job of containing him because they had a good pass rush, and that pass rush would get back there, but when he would escape the pocket and try to cut up field, they were like, nope, not happening, not today. Not today. Nope, you ain't doing this on us. And the most he would get would be like 5-6 yards. They were not letting him run. They weren't having it. They were not letting him run. And I was like, wow, okay, I see y'all. But they were not with it. And I was like, oh man, that is crazy. But he was trying out there. He was really trying. And let's take a look at his numbers. Of course the numbers don't tell the whole story, but 20 for 32, that's pretty good. 20 for 32 is pretty good, and 253 yards. That's good. That's good. That's not a bad game at all, because that showed he completed most of his passes. He had a decent average, 7.9 yards per completion. So that's about 8 yards per completion. Had one touchdown, and that touchdown, the sad part about it, that touchdown actually shouldn't have stood. It should not have been a touchdown because it was a clear false start. A clear false start. But NFL is probably like, hey, look, opening game, we need a better score. These ratings, our ratings are going to be good, but still, we want to make sure that they stay good. So they're like, we're going to let y'all slide, Texans. We're going to let that false start slide. But it was definitely a false start, for sure. And who was it that caught the touchdown? It was a tight end. Fails. No. Oh, it was Akins. I thought it was the other. I really thought it was Fails. Oh, it was the other tight end, Jordan Akins. Okay, I knew it was a tight end. I thought it was Fails though. Okay, my apologies. I had that completely wrong then. But either way, it shouldn't have been nobody. David Johnson, he had a really good game last night. He helped in the passing game. He helped in the running game. He looked like the guy that the Cardinals fell in love with. But it wasn't enough. It was not enough. And it was tough, man. Oh, it's crazy looking at their names on a stat sheet, looking at David Johnson and Duke Johnson. It's just D Johnson. And you got to make sure you know which one is which, because you could easily get them mixed up. Oh, that's crazy. That's wild, man. Will Fuller. He had 8 receptions for 112 yards, so no shocker there. He did have the early drop, though. He had that early drop, and that was tough, because Deshaun Watson put it on the money. He put it on the money for him. But Will Fuller dropped it, and that's also Will Fuller, man. Will Fuller, he can make some big plays, but he can also make those drops as well. Now, of course, I, in agreement with everybody else, felt like the Texans definitely missed DeAndre Hopkins. For sure. I mean, you get rid of the best receiver in the game, you're going to miss him. You're definitely going to feel it. You're going to feel that from jump. And especially in the offseason. Like, I was just talking to my guy Lewis about this. And I was saying, you're going to feel that. In an offseason like this, you're going to feel it even more early on. But we can't count them out. They have 15 more games to improve their offense. They got 15 more games to get into a rhythm. They got 15 more games to get this thing right. So I wouldn't count out the Texans. I wouldn't be, oh man, they're done because they don't have DeAndre Hopkins. And I wish they would have traded him to the Ravens, but I can't count them out. It's too early. It's too early. Now with the Chiefs, I mean, people can say, oh, they look so good, they look great. Now for them, I can't say it's too early because they are pretty much the same team that they had last year. They just added a little bit more firepower. And they like kept everybody. All they big names, they kept all of them. They kept everybody, man. Chris Jones, it was talk about Chris Jones. Is he going to stay? Is he going to get traded? They kept him. Re-signed him to a deal. Of course, Patrick Mahomes wasn't going anywhere. But then Travis Kelce, he got a new deal. They of course, drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Snead, who made a big name for himself last night. It was, wow. So you can say that this team looks really good. You're allowed to say it for them. But I think it's too early to say the Texans team looks really bad. Because it's a lot more unknowns on the Texans team than there are with the Chiefs. With the Chiefs, it's a lot of knowns. It's like we know who their players are. We know what they have the capability of doing. But with the Texans, new roster, a lot of guys gone, a lot of new faces, a lot of turnover. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I had completely forgot about J.J. Watt. I don't know why. Maybe with all this clowny talk. But I had really forgot all about J.J. Watt until I saw him make a couple plays last night. Well, it was really early on in the game. And I saw that 99. I was like, hey, that's J.J. Forgot about him. But he's certainly still there. But we'll see who emerges as one of the Texans' top receivers. Obviously, Will Fuller is the guy. But is he really that number one guy? I think he's a good number two. I don't really think he's that number one guy. He's not that move the chains type of guy. He's more the deep threat. Take a slant, end up turning into 30 yards. But as far as that possession receiver, who's that going to be? They have Brandon Cooks, another deep threat. I personally don't really feel like he's a number one. Could he be? He's good now. Brandon Cooks is good. And Brandon Cooks, he used to do his thing with the Saints. I mean, oh, man. Those deep passes with the Saints. Then with the Rams. Same thing. Then with the Patriots. So he's been around, man. He has been around. But we'll see what kind of role he establishes for himself as a Houston Texan. And then, of course, they have Randall Cobb as well. See, I did not know that with Randall Cobb. I didn't know this was his 10th year. When they said it last night, I was like, what? His 10th year? That's crazy. His 10th year. I'm like, wow, this dude has been around, man. I ain't even know. But shout out to Randall Cobb. But he's obviously in good shape. And he's still going. Played with the Packers for a while. Was with the Cowboys last year, now with the Texans. I don't think I missed any teams. I think that's been it. I believe. But, oh, wow. Shout out to them. So we'll see how these Texans end up doing. But as far as my weekly predictions, we are currently still good. Still good. We'll see how the rest of the games go. But right now, we are sitting at 1-0. I should have written everything down. I should have written down who I picked to win. Let me just look at it real quick and try to go off memory. I know I picked Seattle to win in a close one. I picked the Bills to beat the Jets. I picked the Lions to beat the Bears. I picked the Packers to beat the Vikings. I picked the Patriots to beat the Dolphins. I picked the Washington football team to beat the Eagles. I picked the Panthers to beat the Raiders. I picked the Colts to beat the Jaguars. I picked the Ravens to beat the Browns. I picked the Bengals to beat the Chargers. I picked the Bucks to beat the Saints. I think I picked the Cardinals to beat the 49ers. I picked the Cowboys to beat the Rams. Picked the Steelers to beat the Giants. And picked the Titans to beat the Broncos. So far, so good. So we will see starting at 1 o'clock this Sunday how that continues to work itself out. So that should be a lot of fun. Yesterday, watching football, it was fun, but I didn't really get my full football, like, that feeling back. I didn't get the chills back. I didn't get the, like, whoa, okay, it's here. I didn't get that back yet. I didn't get it back yet. And then the only reason was because I was a little bit tired, too. It was a struggle for me to stay up during that game. Toward the end of it, oh, man. Because I'm so used to going to bed early now because of my son's school. And then having to wake up at 7:30 in the morning. Oh, I can't stand it. But it was a struggle to stay up for that game. But again, I enjoyed it. It wasn't my team. So it didn't hit me the same. When it comes Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and I see the Ravens, they really, even about like 12:30. Like, you know how they be having the pregame stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, let's go. And they be showing them on the field and stuff. That's when it's gonna hit. But really, like 1 o'clock, or really like 12:50 something. That's when it's gonna hit. That's when it's gonna hit, and it's gonna be like, oh man, let's go. Let's go. So this should be it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun, man. Whole lot of fun. Football season, again, it was once in doubt, but we're here in week 1, and I'm just grateful. I am very grateful. I'm grateful for a lot, man. Have a lot to be grateful for. We all do. We all got so much to be grateful for. You wake up this morning, hey, boom, there you go. You got plenty to be grateful for from jump. I know a lot of us, life isn't perfect. Well, we know that. But complaining is not going to make it perfect. It's not. I know we all got different things that we get frustrated with. We all got different things that we go through. We all got a lot on our plate, man. A whole lot on our plate. And especially with how things have been with the whole pandemic over the past, feels like it's been forever now. That can mess with you. I know some people who is messed with more than others, whether they have had family get sick or whether it can affect them emotionally. There have been a lot of people just with being sort of, I guess, like trapped in a house. It's messed up a lot of people's, like, their social life, and that can have an impact on them mentally. So it's a lot of people that are going through it, man, in different ways. That's why I just try to tell people, man, be good to people, man. Be good to people. Be good to people. Like, and that's what part of what Team Keep It Clean is about. Because, like, I know, and we talk about this a lot, that on the channel, like on the YouTube channel, we're not all going to look at things the same way. We're not all going to think the same things about the same players and the same team. We're not all going to look at things the same. We're not going to agree. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Disagreements happen. But just show respect. You ain't got to get nasty with nobody. You ain't got to be disrespectful with nobody. It is too much negative things happening in the world for you to come on YouTube or whatever and be like, oh, I'm going to be nasty to this person. It's too much negativity, too much negative stuff going on in real life. Well, I mean, YouTube is real life too, but you get what I'm saying. It's too much negativity out there in the world for you to get on the internet or whatever and be like, oh, I'm gonna be even more negative. Like, for what? What's the point? That doesn't do anything for anybody. And even if you being negative towards somebody, what does that accomplish? What does that accomplish? It doesn't accomplish anything. You may feel good for like 2 seconds or something, but then after that, you're going to realize, whoa, wait a minute. I was just negative toward this person for what? Because I see people go back and forth in the comment section. I ain't got no problem with that, but if it takes a turn where it shouldn't be taking no turn, I'd be like, no, not on here. Y'all go DM each other, something like that. Not on here though, man. It just, cause and that doesn't happen too often. It hardly ever happens, really, man. Cause y'all show a lot of respect for each other. But every once in a while, we have somebody with two people, they don't feel the same about a certain topic, and they go back and forth, 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 and then somebody will start getting disrespectful. It's like, oh, no, not here. Go take that somewhere else. But it's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, like I said, it's just it's so much going on out there for people to come on and be negative. It's no point. There's no point. And again, you never know what somebody, like, you of course don't know these people. You just see their profile picture and avatar, whatever, and whatever they put as their comment. But you never know what people are going through behind that avatar, behind that profile picture. You never know, ever. Even for people that you do see, you never know what they're going through. So to be nasty with people, it's no point, man. It's no point. People are going through so much, especially right now, man. Especially right now with how things are. And for other people to just be nasty to people, it's no point, man. There's no point. I gotta catch myself sometimes, man, because sometimes somebody will like comment on a video, or whether they being slick or being rude or something. I gotta catch myself too, cause I sure ain't perfect. Farthest thing from it, man. But I gotta catch myself too, cause enough times I'll be wanting to get slick back with them or something like that. But I gotta catch myself like, whoa, hold up, man. It's not worth it. It's really not. So I'm still working on myself too, man. So don't think that, oh, Ingraven, he's saying that we should do better and better. No, it's me too. Like, we all in this thing together, man. All in this thing together, man. And it can be a struggle. But that's why but the positivity outweighs the negativity by far, and it's not even close, man. That's why I appreciate y'all like crazy, man. Man, y'all just, I don't think y'all get it, man. I appreciate y'all like crazy, because again, the positivity outweighs the negativity by millions, man. It's not close at all. Just the positive feedback, the support, the engagement, just the love, man. It means a lot, a whole lot. And y'all continue to show it, man. So I'm super grateful. That's why, again, thank you. Because this is y'all, man. I ain't nobody special. That's why I hate, and I know it ain't nothing against anybody, anything like that. But I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm a fan of you." I hate that. So I'm like, no, man. Because a fan make it seem like I'm better than somebody, and I'm not. I'm not better than anybody. I'm not higher than anybody. None of that. Everything that I'm doing on here is nothing special. Anybody can hop on here, get behind the camera or behind their phone or whatever, and talk about football, man. Anybody can do that, man. So I ain't nothing special, man. And I don't ever want to be treated as if I am such, because I'm not, man. I ain't better than nobody else. I ain't higher than anybody else. None of that stuff, man. None of that. That's why I say, not fans, we fam. F-A-M, as in Mary. Because I know through the mic that N can sound like the M. Anyway, We family. Family. Not fans, but fam. Family. We all in this thing together, man. And that's why with Team Keep It Clean, that's exactly what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. So y'all just keep doing you, man. Keep doing what y'all been doing. I know a lot of people, they said, hey, well, I got something to listen to on the way to work now. I was like, oh, that's crazy, man. I appreciate it though, man. I don't know where this thing is gonna go, but again, it's gonna be fun. I'm just gonna have fun with it because I love it. I'm enjoying it a lot, a whole lot. Like I'm like, wow, this is crazy, man. I really wish I would have started a long time ago. But what better way? What better time to start than now? What better time to start than now? And again, the support, man. The support through just everybody, man. It's crazy. And again, but yeah, y'all don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is also gonna have the podcast on there. We're gonna be uploading it to there as well. So you're gonna have different ways to listen. You're gonna have different ways to catch it. Because I know not everybody has Anchor. You know, Anchor is free. Spotify, I don't think is free. But follow on Spotify, on Anchor, all that stuff, man. You can support the channel different ways. You can check that out on Anchor. And just thank you. Like I said, thank you, man. So many different people have supported in so many different ways. And I'm not even just talking about like money. I ain't even talking about money. I'm just talking about whether it be advice or whether it be just tips on how to do some different things better, whether it be just talking about specs on a computer. Shout out to my guy Kevin for that. Whether it be talking about some business stuff. Shout out to my guy Josh. It's so much, man. It's so many different people, and I have talked to so many different people via DMs. And we each like I feel like for some people that I talk to, and it's been like this, like when I would see them in person, I'm like, oh, remember when you said this and da da da. Obviously before this whole quarantine thing, and when we would go up there, well, I miss BWI, I miss going up there, but it's all good. But it's the support. I always talk about it because I always get reminders of how great the support is, man. We have a great support system on here. Shout out to my wife, biggest supporter right there. And I remember from the very beginning, before I recorded my first ever video on YouTube, which was a Madden video, like a tutorial. And I told y'all this before, but I was thinking like, okay, let me get the cheaper recording device. But she was like, no, man. What you gonna get the cheaper one for? Get the better one. You wanna put good videos out, right? And I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, get the more expensive one, man. And it ended up working out. But yeah, that was back in the Madden days, man. And I mean, she always give me reminders, just in case I want to be like cheap on something. Cause oh boy, y'all like, whew, I could be cheap with a lot of stuff. I could be cheap. I could be very cheap. And I ain't got no problem with that either. Like even with Madden, like Madden has been out for weeks now, and I'm still on EA Access or EA Play, whatever. I'm still on the trial. I'm still using the trial, and I got like 5 hours left. But she gives me reminders to invest in myself. I really invest in Team Keep It Clean, just the whole thing. And there have been investments that have been made and stuff. But she's big. She's big on that. And it's paid dividends, man. So I appreciate her a lot. I appreciate Carter, our son. He's great. Of course, he's annoying sometimes, but I love him, man. That's what he's supposed to do. As our son, he's supposed to be a little annoying here and there. That's his job. Cause I know it's crazy. Cause I know a lot of times y'all doing the videos, even just a little while ago during the podcast, he was out there cracking up because he's on lunch break right now. He's on his lunch break from school, and he was watching the show. He's cracking up. And I know during some of the videos y'all have heard Carter, some of the videos y'all have seen Carter, he'll come through. But I love him. He's doing a really good job, and I'm super proud of him. Super proud of him. He's doing so good, man. And I'm grateful that one thing me and my wife talk about sometimes, because when she was growing up, and I know this ain't got nothing to do with football or anything, but when she was growing up, she didn't grow up with both of her parents together, and neither did I. But he's getting to experience that from jump. Like, he has his mom, he has his dad, they're together. Because it takes a lot, man. It's a lot of work. A whole lot of work. Like, oh, man. It's a whole lot of work, man. Like, it is tough. Tough. With Carter, that's why for single parents, man, I give them all the credit in the world. But my mom, whoa, boy, she is real deal. That's the best way to describe her, real deal. And one thing about her, she never, ever complained about my father. Ever. Never complained about him, never badmouthed him, none of that at all. So it was just me and her. But she never badmouthed him, never talked bad about him, never talked down at nothing. And that didn't really hit me until I got older, till I understood a lot more. And I was like, and looking back at it, I was like, wow, she never, because I've seen so many people, and every relationship is different, of course, but I've seen so many people where they're not together, and whether the dad will badmouth the mom, or the mom will badmouth the dad, and it's just, it can be ugly. But she, not once. So that was big for me, man. That taught me a lot. Taught me a whole lot. So shout out to my mom, man. My mom, she's been a big help with this whole thing. With just the team, keep it clean, period. Huge supporter. I know initially when I first got laid off from my job, when I told her, I said, hey, I'm gonna go for the YouTube full time. That's what I'm gonna do. She was like, ooh, really? You don't looking for a job, or you don't want to? She's like, oh, but I can understand because she's from a different generation from me, and even with her, even for people in this generation, there was some that were like, oh, really? Like even some of my peers and stuff, they're like, oh, really? Like some of them were like, oh, okay, but then the ones that really, really know me, like I had some from work and stuff. They're like, oh, okay. That I obviously used to work with because we had got laid off, but they're like, oh, okay. But then some that really knew me, that I grew up with in the same neighborhood and all that. They were like, hey, go for it. You should have been did it. Go for it. And I was like, hey, because I got a couple that super close with that I grew up with. Terrence and Jerome. Gotta have them on one day. But both of them from while I was still working, they will both always talk about it. Especially Terrence. Terrence was like, hey man, you should go to school so you can end up being on ESPN. Cause you got the voice for it. You could do it. And I'd be like, I don't like school. I'm not a fan of school at all. I know my mom can attest to that. But he would tell me, hey, you should do it, man. Then my boy Jerome would be the same thing, man. He said, hey, man. He said, you got the voice, man. You should do it. Podcast and whatever. He used to say it. And I obviously had the channel already while I was working, but they it's some people when you got friends and family and stuff that really believe in you, it changes everything. And then like for my mom, I know like initially she was like, ooh, like okay, you gonna do that full time? Like really? But then once she saw it, once she like saw it in motion, and I think with once she really saw the flag football game that we had planned out, when she really saw that in motion, she saw like the channel growing, and she just saw things that were happening. I think that's when it clicked for her. Because for her, and I mean, it's like this for me too with a lot of stuff, but I think for her, seeing was believing. Because I never doubted that she believed in me as a person, but I think for this venture, I think she was like, maybe she get a job. And I can understand why she said that. But then once she actually saw it like in motion, then she was like, oh, okay, this is something. Then she supported like crazy. My uncle supports like crazy. My other aunt and uncle, my whole family, man, they behind it. And if they not behind it, they sure do a good job of fooling me. But no, they are behind it, man. They are with it. They have been huge help. Cause family is big, man. Cause it's like you can do something, and you can have all the support in the world, but if you ain't got that support from your family, it could be like, oh man, it can be a little frustrating. I mean, you still gonna do what you do, but when your family actually does support, it makes it that much better. It can make you that much happier in what you're doing, and just know that they're gonna really have your best interest. They're gonna help you out. They're gonna give you advice, give you tips, and all that. So it worked out, man. Well, I just got a notification that we are on Apple Podcasts now, so that's great. We are on Apple Podcasts. So cool, man. I'm with it. I am with it. Let me send this to my boy who I was just talking to about this yesterday, because I asked him if he had Spotify, but he was like, no, I don't have Spotify. He said I got Apple Podcasts though, so I'll see if that ends up working. That's cool, man. I'm with it. I am with it. This is great. Great news. Good timing. Timing is everything, like we always say. So this is good timing. That we end up finding out while we're recording this podcast, we find out that our podcast has been approved, and it is on Apple Podcasts right now. So that's cool, man. Anyway, team, keep it clean. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you so much. This is great, man. This is great. Oh, okay, it said it's going to take a couple hours before it's on there. So your podcast has been approved. You should expect to see it on iTunes Store within the next few hours. When it's available, you'll be able to access it with the URL below. Cool. That is great, man. That's great. All right, team, keep it clean. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Just thank you. Big thank you. I appreciate all y'all so much. And on that note, we out.